We talk about it all the time right here on Liquid Lunch. Homelessness is becoming a national epidemic. And for the last 6 months at least, when Donald Trump referred to Baltimore as the rattiest town around, we've been talking about how many of the rattiest cities in the country, as confirmed by Orkin, the pest control company, the top 10 rattiest, most rats, most dirty, are all led by predominantly one-party rule Democrats. And it seems that homelessness seems to affect the same areas or types of areas that rattiness does. And it's crossing our nation. It's getting worse by the minute. And about 500,000 people are going to be unsheltered tonight. Some portion, about half of those are in California, but it's growing all across the nation. And somebody who has to deal with this right here in New York is Michael Fischer. He's the president of the Central Park South Civic Association, bipartisan, non-political group of homeowners around the Central Park area. And Michael, it's a national issue, yes. And in your position, standing up for the homeowners in your civic association, you get dragged into a lot of the national dialogue on this stuff.
Absolutely.
Why is it just coincidence that where all the liberal Democrats are, that's where all the homelessness is?
No, not really. I mean, it's basically that for whatever reason, the progressive Democrats are ignoring the problem. They're just letting it pass them by. And I can't understand why. And it's getting worse and worse. And it's getting very unhealthy as well, you know, because for example, in New York City, it's been a 17% increase in homelessness since the mayor took office. California, the same thing. It's been a huge increase in homelessness. Seattle, Austin, Texas, et cetera.
So we're seeing in a lot of these places where more and more, as progressives get in, it seems like they're making the rules more favorable to homeless people. Now there's some rule, I think in California, that they used to be able to move people if they were trying to shelter in a place that's not made for habitation, but they're making it like the cops can't even bother them.
Well, you know, I don't know if you want to call it favorable, because I don't think anybody that's homeless really wants to be on the street. In fact, 80% of the homeless people are mentally ill, so they don't even know what's going on, and they're not getting any help.
I've been saying this for a while. We've had a number of mental health professionals on the show. I see it right here in our neighborhood in New York City, where our studio is, that I see these people that clearly look homeless, but they're talking to themselves or screaming or something. And you would think, you know, that the politicians who are in charge would put some money aside to make places where they can get mental health.
Right.
And it's you got to be mentally ill to want to sleep in the street. So there's got to be something wrong to begin with. Do you see any programs like that on the federal or even the local level?
Nothing. You know, the fact of the matter is that the people that are mentally ill on the streets are crying for help. They need to go through rehabilitation, and there's absolutely no rehabilitation programs in New York City, California, or any other places that is actually addressing the problems on the streets. So that's why you're going to have an increase in homelessness as time goes on. It's going to get worse and worse and worse.
Well, I'm going to interrupt you 1 minute right here. We got some breaking news. Michael Fischer is going to stay with us, but it looks like it's getting worse and worse and worse for our good friend Roger Stone. Frankie's got the breaking news on that.
Yes, John, Judge Jackson just sentenced Roger Stone to 40 months in prison and a $20,000 fine, happening just moments ago.
So just before the show started today, Frankie, I believe you put out a challenge to the staff. We had a little pool going to see who could guess the sentence the judge would go with. What were the results of that?
So did John win or did Nico win? John won. What did he predict?
What did I predict?
You predicted 40 months on the dot. Now that's impressive. You should play Prison Price is Right. That's pretty good.
I've seen plenty of sentencings in my life, and I had a feeling that she was going to meet him somewhere. It's no laughing matter. I'm sorry to interrupt the segment, but you know, this is big news. You know, I don't know where you come down politically, but I think if the Trump is the Trump I think I know, I think he's going to just come out and pardon him.
I hope so.
You do?
I do. Yeah, I think the whole thing is ridiculous. The politicians, with the impeachment hearings and everything else, are just wasting a tremendous amount of time. I'd rather see them addressing the homeless issue, which is huge, which is growing.
It would be nice if they could work together, right? I mean,
it would be nice.
You would see some real day for us. We're gonna try to keep you up to speed on every single little thing that happens from
Nothing
here.
yet from the
I think it's
president.
going to be a pretty hyperactive news cycle. The judge did say that she's not going to execute the sentence until a decision comes down on Rogers' request for a new trial, which she denied, but it's at the appellate division. So thankfully, Roger doesn't have to go to jail just yet. And hopefully, rather than spend a whole heck of a lot more time and money of U.S. taxpayers, the president will weigh in, check the box, say, no, he's out. That would be a great thing for all, I think,
Agreed.
personally.
I agree with you on that.
Mike, I'm sorry we had to interrupt the homeless issue, but
Not at all.
that's what we do here, breaking
It's
news,
important.
live television. You were excellent, too. You went with it. You changed gears right away. You went from
Always.
homelessness to Trump, Stone, and everything.
I try hard.
Thank you very much. Keep
my
us
pleasure.
posted on what's going on. Any news that we can get out there and spread the word to help the homelessness, let us know. Keep us
Absolutely. I appreciate your time.
posted. We will keep you posted on everything that's happening with Roger Stone and the president, all that other great stuff. We're going to break down some of the debate stuff last night from the Democratic primaries. All that and more on this throwback Thirsty Thursday edition of Liquid Lunch.